You know that saying, what goes around comes around? We hear it all the time, usually as a quick comfort when someone's been wronged. We imagine karma as this instant, lightning bolt force, a cosmic boomerang that immediately smacks the bad guy on the back of the head. But that's the movie version. In the real world, especially the corporate world, karma is quieter. It's slower. It doesn't always announce its arrival with a thunderclap. Sometimes it's a slow, grinding pressure that builds over months, even years. It's a series of small, seemingly insignificant events that quietly stack up in the background. And then, one day, when you least expect it, the universe doesn't just balance the scales, it tips them over entirely. Well, let me tell you, sometimes karma doesn't just come back around. It does a full, glorious, and deeply satisfying victory lap. And my story is proof of that. It all started a few years ago when I landed my dream job. It was at this buzzy, fast-paced tech company, the kind with glass walls, endless free snacks, and an energy so electric you could feel it humming in the floor. I was hired as a junior project manager, and for me, it felt like I'd finally gotten my ticket to the big leagues. I was walking on air. I was so excited, a bundle of nervous energy and ambition. I was hungry to prove myself, ready to absorb everything, to put in the hours, to show them they'd made the right choice. I wanted to be a sponge, to learn, to grow, to contribute something meaningful. And looking back, I was incredibly, painfully naive. I believed that if you just put your head down and did good work, you'd be recognized. I thought the world was a meritocracy. And that's when I met Jason. Jason was the office superstar. Cool, confident, and seemingly brilliant. He had an answer for everything and a knack for making complex problems sound simple, as long as he was the one solving them. He was always 2 steps ahead. At least that's the carefully crafted image he wanted everyone to see. When I first started, Jason took me under his wing, or so I thought. He acted like my mentor. He'd give me advice on navigating the company's politics. He'd show me the ropes on our internal systems. He'd even grab me coffee in the morning. He'd say things like, "Don't worry, I've got your back. This place can be tricky." I was grateful. I thought I'd found an ally. But behind my back, that mentorship was a facade. He wasn't building me up. He was building a case against me. He was planting insidious seeds of doubt in everyone's mind, positioning himself as the hero who was constantly cleaning up my messes. He was a master of sabotage, spreading rumors, twisting my words, and most painfully, taking credit for my work. I'd spend a week buried in data, find a key insight, and share it with him for feedback. The next day, I'd watch him present my discovery in the all-hands meeting as his own, giving me a little nod for gathering the raw data. He made me feel like his assistant, not his colleague. The whispers started subtly. I'd walk into the kitchen and conversations would stop. I'd get strange, pitying looks from people I barely knew. Then the feedback started trickling down from my manager, who was clearly hearing Jason's version of events.
Jason mentioned you were struggling with the quarterly projections. Are you sure you're cut out for this level of analysis? We need people who can hit the ground running. Maybe this just isn't the right fit for you.
It was brutal, absolutely soul-crushing. I started to question everything. My skills, my intelligence, my decision to even take this job. I'd go home at night with a knot in my stomach, replaying every interaction, trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. His gaslighting was so effective, I started to believe him. I felt completely alone. But here's the thing. When you're underestimated, when you're pushed into a corner, you have 2 fundamental options. You can give up. You can let their narrative become your reality, pack your box, and walk away. Or you can get angry. You can let that injustice curdle into something hard and sharp inside you. You can use it as fuel. I chose the second. The turning point for me was seeing an email he'd sent to a director, forwarding my project proposal with the line, "Here's the strategy I've developed. Let me know your thoughts." Not a mention of my name. In that moment, the hurt turned into cold, clear resolve. I wasn't going to be a footnote in my own career. My entire strategy shifted. I still worked longer hours, but now with a purpose. I made sure every single project was airtight. Every email I sent was a masterclass in clarity and documentation. I created a paper trail for everything. No more verbal agreements, no more casual idea sharing with Jason. Every task was followed by an email summarizing what was done and who did it. And I stopped being an island. I slowly started building real, genuine relationships with my other coworkers. I offered to help people on their projects. I learned about their work. I became a reliable resource for anyone who wasn't Jason. I was building an army of allies, one coffee at a time, and yes, I kept receipts, meticulously. I saved every email where he misrepresented my work. I kept original files with metadata proving I was the author. I documented timelines that showed my contributions from start to finish. It wasn't about plotting some dramatic revenge. I never planned to use it. It was about protecting myself. It was my insurance policy. It was my proof, even if only for myself, that I wasn't crazy, that I was good at my job. And then, after a year of this silent battle, the day came. An email landed in everyone's inbox that sent a shockwave through the entire company. Our company got acquired by a much larger, more process-driven corporation. Suddenly, everything was in flux. Big changes. And with the acquisition came new leadership. This wasn't the old guard who had been charmed by Jason. These were outsiders. They didn't care about charisma. They cared about data, performance, and verifiable results. They announced a major restructuring. They needed someone to build and lead a brand new strategic division, a role that would be pivotal for the company's future. And guess what? I was ready. When they called me in for an interview, I didn't mention Jason once. I didn't have to. I had the results, documented and undeniable. I had the relationships with peers who, when asked, vouched for my collaboration and expertise. I had the resilience forged in fire. So I got the promotion. I was made the director of the new division. But here's the twist. The part where karma decided to take its victory lap. Jason's entire house of cards, built on charm and stolen credit, collapsed under the new management's scrutiny. The new bosses saw right through his act. They looked at the data, they saw the email trails, they saw who was originating the work and who was just forwarding it. His slick talk couldn't cover for the lack of substance. Long story short, in the new structure, I wasn't just his peer, I wasn't even just his direct boss. I ended up being promoted to a role 2 levels above him. Now, I was his boss's boss. The sheer poetic justice of it was almost overwhelming. You'd think I'd want to rub it in his face. You'd think my first move would be to call him into my new, bigger office and enjoy the moment. But honestly, when the moment came, the desire for revenge had completely vanished. I just focused on doing the job right, on building a healthy team, on creating the kind of environment I had longed for when I first started. Because in the end, it's not about payback. It's about proving to yourself that you are stronger than the obstacles and the people thrown in your way. So my advice, document everything. Not for revenge, but for your own protection and peace of mind. Build genuine alliances. Let your work be so good and so undeniable that it speaks for itself. And above all, work hard and remember, karma, in its own slow, methodical way, has a funny habit of putting people exactly where they belong. And when you finally get your moment, don't sink to their level. Rise above. Because living well and succeeding on your own terms isn't just the best kind of revenge, it's the only kind that matters.